Hello, everyone. I am so sorry that I'm late, but in case you haven't noticed, I'm in a different location. I might have just manifested myself a way out of living in my RV and into the perfect job and home situation, but that's what my next book is about, so you'll have to check that out. But here we are for this book. Turn Your Magic All the Way Up, a ridiculous guide to discovering yourself after narcissistic abuse. Just tune in here because it's free. How about that? And if you want a copy, comment and I'll send you my Venmo. You can send me $10 and I will mail you an autographed copy. It might be more than $10 because I'll have to factor in shipping, because I would normally send you guys to Amazon, but I don't want you to go to Amazon. So I bought a bunch of author copies so you can come through me. And that way they don't get their part. So just comment if you want a book and I'll sign it and send it to you and send you the Venmo. Okay, deal? Got it. Okay, here we are, chapter 16. This week is called Animals, Nature, and Empaths. How appropriate, eh? Let's take a moment. Number one, there are a lot of people who think that empaths are a bunch of crap. And then there are a lot of people who know the science behind it and realize that empaths are created, again, the same way that narcissists are, through childhood trauma of having to be hypervigilant because of someone in the household keeping them walking on eggshells. So when you're hypervigilant to see what someone's mood is so that you can behave appropriately, so that you don't set them off, you become hypervigilant and hyper-aware and hypersensitive, which turns you into an empath. So excuse me, it is a thing. Call it what you will, but it's a thing. And here we go. Also, with empaths now being a big thing in the news right now because of a certain person who should not even be involved in politics because they're foreign. But they're also a psychopath, because anybody who says that empathy is a weakness and should be outlawed is someone who doesn't have it and is jealous of others for having it and sees it as something to be exploited and manipulated. And you know who does that? Psychopaths do that. There have been sociological experiments done on animals and humans and what distinguishes us between others and species and what helped us progress over time. And it's been our empathy for others that's helped us to move forward. And also remember that isn't that the hallmark of every religion, is to be kind and compassionate and empathic to your fellow man? So the fact that this person is being worshipped in office and is promoting making empathy a sin should be an enormous red flag that you're dealing with a narcissist. And in case you didn't know, every psychopath and sociopath is a narcissist. Not every narcissist is a sociopath or a psychopath. There is a scale for narcissism, but there are definitive distinguishing factors for sociopaths and psychopaths. And we're not going to get into that here because I'm not the pro. You'll have to search out the pros on that one. But I do know from my own research with other pros that that statement is true, that all sociopaths and psychopaths are narcissists. Not all narcissists are sociopaths and psychopaths. All right, here we go. Chapter 16, Animals, Nature, and Empaths. Also, I wrote this book with a playlist on Spotify, and I'll put the link to the Spotify playlist below. This song is Y'all Means All by Miranda Lambert. Looking back on my entire life, I see how I had to experience what I did in order to get me to where I am right now. It was all building to this. Empaths are naturally drawn to nature, animals, and water. We are often classified as introverts, which is just us protecting our energy from the emotional vampires out there who just don't get us. Sidebar, also possibly autistic. Sitting in silence, listening to nothing but the sound of nature, wind in the trees, a rushing stream, birds chirping, is therapeutic to an empath, as are showers and bathing, which is very symbolically cleansing to the psyche. To this day, I am sure to take a shower every day. It is necessary for my self-care, period. I grew up in a house that always had animals, a dog and a cat, usually. They were part of the family and never abused, only loved and cherished. I fell in love with My Little Ponies at about the age of 4, and that's when I realized that horses really exist. Horses are My Little Ponies, but real. I immediately wanted riding lessons. My mom, also an empath, really tried her best to be a good mother by trying to encourage us kids to try different things to find our passion. I had tried flute, violin, dancing, which I loved, but was still too shy at that time. Gymnastics, swimming, but nothing ever stuck. When she suggested horseback riding lessons to my dad, he balked. Dad, don't get her started on that because if she likes it, we could never afford it. Mom, oh, it's okay. I'm sure it'll be like all the other hobbies and she'll just lose interest. I did not. I became one of those horse crazy kids that in the pre-internet days meant I grabbed up every single book I could possibly find about horses and I just inhaled them. I learned as much as I possibly could. I also ran around the backyard jumping over courses that I had built. Whether we truly could afford it or not, it was drilled into me that we could not afford to ever buy a horse, and I was sincerely grateful for my once-a-week riding lesson. I would be so excited for it that on Saturday mornings I would don my riding clothes and helmet in anticipation for us finally leaving for the barn sometime in that afternoon. At the barn, around horses, in nature, I felt at peace. They didn't speak, but I could hear them and they could hear me. I appreciated this new language I was learning, body language. Song Country Again by Thomas Rhett. This is the fundamentals of animal training. Coincidentally, it is also helpful in the human world. Humans and horses really are similar in the way they move. Watching people in traffic, we have a herd mentality, and most of us drive that way. We're kind of predictable if you watch for it. Empaths are just naturally more sensitive creatures. Either by birth or by design, we pick up on the energy around us. Animals don't speak, but they emit energy and communicate with body language. An introverted empath who doesn't feel seen, heard, or listened to will feel like a real person around animals. Finally, we find someone who listens back. From the age of 5 to the age of 12, I took riding lessons once a week, leased horses when I could, and dreamed about one day maybe owning my own, though I didn't see how I ever could because I really thought we were poor. We lived in Torrance, and horses were only for the rich in Southern California. I resigned myself to just being happy to ride and be around them any chance that I could. I have a lot of stories involving horses that I will save for maybe another book, but I will mention Dandelion, however. Dandy was my heart horse, what horse people know as that one special bond that you have with an animal that just won't ever really be able to be repeated. He was an 18-year-old, incredibly patient and gentle Arabian packer. In another display of the universe blessing those with genuinely good hearts, I was eventually given the opportunity to buy and own him. An honest-to-goodness dream come true. I thank my parents every day for figuring out a way to make that happen. My memories with Dandy will forever be some of my very favorite. That relationship can never be forgotten. It was so very special to me, and I'm honored that I was his human for a short time. It meant I had to move to Texas, but if I could take Dandy with me, I'd go to the ends of the earth. So at 12 and a freshman in high school, I moved from Southern California to Fort Worth, Texas to start a brand new life. Culture shock, but I had a horse, and he was my best friend and my whole life. Song, Dear Rodeo by Cody Johnson. When he died suddenly of colic just 2 short years after moving To say that I was devastated would be a serious understatement. Losing him was my first experience with that level of loss in my life. My mom helped me get over the trauma of his death by allowing me to take the day off from school. She took the day off too, and we just drove. Or she just drove, and I rode. I didn't want to talk, and I couldn't put into words the pain that I was experiencing anyway. She allowed me that silence, and again, I thank her immensely for that space. We just drove, listening to the radio, as I looked out the window, consumed by my grief at having lost my very best friend in the whole world. I'm sitting here crying even now. I'm having a hard time not crying even now, with gratitude to my mom for giving me such a sacred experience and genuinely being there for me when I needed it. I think this is why I learned to love driving and listening to music so much. I tie it to the time I allow myself to really get in touch with my own emotions. The connections that I had with Dandy and love of all things horses have kept them a constant fixture in my life, for better or worse. For an empath, once they're in your blood, they're in there for good. Horses have saved my life in ways I didn't even know until now, sitting here typing and crying. I told you putting pieces together wouldn't be easy. It's hard for me even now sometimes. True. Dandy and I were big fish in a little pond. We won everything together, but I had no truck or horse trailer, so I couldn't compete anywhere but at the barn I boarded. We competed in the all-around, which meant we entered everything. Poor old man. I was kind of playing with the loaded deck, and I knew it, but it was still exhilarating and fun, and I relished every ribbon. I was recognized as knowing my shit enough to be asked at the tender age of 15 to be the judge of an entire open horse show, which still stands out as a very proud moment for me. He, meaning Dandy, helped me build confidence in myself when I had none. Every kid should have a hobby that they feel confident in. It helps the self-esteem immensely. Horses, like every single human and every single animal, from rats to cats, have different personalities. I had been very lucky with Dandy. Not every horse was as easy and as kind as he was. I was to find out early just how much upbringing affects us all, animals included. I have had the opportunity to ride pretty much every discipline, both English and Western. I've tried dressage, jumping, eventing, polo, barrel racing, of course, pole bending, team roping, reining, cutting, trail, halter, showmanship, mounted shooting, and I even did some vaulting at a summer camp. I am rare in the fact that I can competently ride any horse of any discipline, and while I might not win first, I would probably place respectably. There are not many people who can say that, and I'm proud of myself for that. I toot my own horn where I can because this world loves nothing more than trying to beat you down and tell you that you're not enough. We are enough. Horses and my natural empathic abilities with them gave me the confidence I was sorely lacking. They heard me when I felt no one was listening. If they came from a difficult background of abuse and were skittish, I could understand and sympathize. It took a while for me to realize that the way animals react, much as the way I react, is all based on the programming they had before they ever reached my door. At first, I often wasn't as patient as I should have been with them. I do have regrets. I am a human after all. But after putting all the pieces together, I see why I reacted the way I did back then, and I have learned from it. I can see it all in all of us now. I feel it only makes me a better human and animal trainer. Song, The Frog Prince by Keane. I will use my cats as an example of how different experiences from their kittenhood/childhood affects their reactions and general view about life. I adopted Callie, a calico munchkin, original name, in Texarkana when she was already a year old. She was at a foster home because she didn't get along with all the other cats at the rescue center, red flag. When a meth house was raided, they found they were raising these munchkin cats to sell to fund their habit. That's how she ended up at the rescue. I have the feeling she wasn't raised with a whole lot of love. She was always standoffish, had a complex about anyone touching her head, and would run backwards if you tried it. She was just generally a leave me the fuck alone kind of girl. It took a few years for her to finally come out of her shell, to figure out petting was nice and people were good. She was, however, always a bully and an instigator in fights with others. Looking back, I think she was a narcissist, LOL. I noticed that if she heard any loud noises or if her brain told her she needed to be afraid, there was no amount of calming or convincing I could do to show her that she was okay. She would never be that trustful of me. When she got scared, it took her a very long time to come out from hiding. She didn't forgive quickly at all. Poor kitty had CPTSD from someone in her past. I was the asshole who usually put her in a position of having to forgive me, and I own that part of my story. It wasn't her fault. We were just a bad match. She was a guilt trigger for me. I would do something that scared her, and she would hide for days. This only made me feel terrible, and so the best decision for all involved was to find her a new home where she could be an only cat. She never did quit being a bully to the others, so it really was the best choice. She is very loved in her new home, and everyone is happy. I have had instances in the past where I just didn't get along with various personalities of animals in my life. It usually involved horses, which is much more like searching out a performance partner than a pet, so matching personalities is imperative. When I found that I couldn't get along with an animal for whatever reason, I always found it a new and loving home. I felt a sense of guilt that I wasn't strong enough to overcome whatever they were triggering in me, but at least I had the wherewithal to realize it wasn't healthy to try to force it and let them go. Again, magic, do as you will. Don't force things, even with pets. If it's not a fit, if their existence doesn't bring joy, let it go. Let's be clear. Find them a good, loving home. Don't abandon them. Don't mistreat them, but let them go. Each animal is coming from their own experiences that we know nothing about. I've often said I wish horses could talk. I can only imagine the kind of ridiculous mistreatment they have experienced, even with the most well-intentioned of people. Song It's 'Cause I Am by Callista Clark. Watching the two cats that I have now, Libby and Smokey, it's evident in their reactions to the world around them how differently their upbringing was from Callie. You can tell what imprinted on their brains from their mothers. Obviously, as cats, they didn't have fathers around, so I could clearly see the things they picked up on from their different mothering experiences. Smokey was found by the side of the road of the house. Smokey was found by the side of the road by our house. She had been dumped there, so I assume her mother was at least partially feral and not from a loving home, if the kittens were tossed out like trash in the countryside. People who dump animals like that are fucking terrible. I bet it was a narcissist. Smokey is way more cautious, aware, and quick to run and hide at the first loud noise or sign of danger, but she comes out a lot quicker than Callie did. Libby, on the other hand, was born to an inside house cat who was safe and loved. Libby doesn't have any fear except what I have instilled in her because she was raised only knowing safety. She is a walking ball of affection and only ever wants to share it. It's oppressively annoying, actually. She follows me around like a dog and constantly wants me to pet her. But how can you be mad about her wanting to share all that love? She shows me every day how much she adores me and how much she appreciates receiving my love in return. Honestly, who could ask for more? Libby and Smokey both are quick to forgive if frightened. They have learned to trust me so that even if things are scary, they know I won't allow them to be hurt. Earning an animal's trust is such a heartwarming level of fulfillment. I'm currently working with yet another Arabian horse who has been through some shit. Yeah. Everything really does come full circle in time. I can tell by his anxious demeanor, his overreaction to simple things, the scars on his body that tell quite a tale, that he has been subjected to abuse in his past. I empathize with him. We have connected, and he has learned to trust me very quickly. All the animal interactions I have ever had are deep reminders of just how important childhood, parenting, and upbringing are, no matter what species. I imprinted a foal at birth, and it created a wonderful, trusting equine partner. How you are treated and handled in childhood is important across species. I am a horse trainer, but anyone who has kids is a human trainer. Be a good one for everyone's sake, please. Song She Used to Be Mine by Sarah Bareilles. Recognizing that empaths are real and allowing myself to say that I am one has truly allowed me to grow in new ways. Empaths are often formed by those who grew up feeling like they must be hyper aware of everyone else's emotions in order to prevent upsetting a parent. I didn't realize that I truly was an empath until after the abuse with all the narcs. Looking back, I can see just how obvious it was that I have been one from the time I was little. I was also codependent as a young child as well. I would feel bad for the stuffed animals that I didn't choose to sleep with each evening, so I was sure to rotate them each night so that none felt left out. Empaths are also often codependent. They kind of go hand in hand. Codependency shows up as a constant worry of others and their well-being over your own. See also people-pleasing. You don't feel worthy as a human. Your worth is tied to what you feel you can provide for others. For me, it shows up like this. I worry about what people around me in traffic are doing or thinking at all times. I worry what they think of me if I make a mistake or accidentally get in their way. I feel bad if I do make them upset, and I don't even know them, nor will I ever see them ever again. I used to choose my gum flavors not necessarily by the ones that I preferred, but by the flavor I thought my partner would want to taste when they kissed me. As a child, I would clean the house early on Saturday mornings. I just straightened up before my mom got up to help my mom. I was being a cleaning fairy. Being an empath also makes you a good dancing partner. It takes two after all, and you must consider and connect with the other person the whole time. Narc number 3 also loved dancing, and I thought it was cool that we both had that in common. However, number 3 liked industrial dancing, read cold music, and you dance solo to that. I use dancing as a form of expression of pure joy, sure, but also to connect with my partner. Narc number 3 used it as a source of narcissistic supply because he liked the attention that he got from others while out on the dance floor on his own. Huge difference. Codependency also shows up in people as a need to control everything because internally we feel so out of control. I didn't think of myself as a control freak. I just knew I liked things a certain way and was picky. A therapist told me I should learn to appreciate getting help, even if it wasn't exactly how I wanted it to be. She was right. I did learn that lesson, and I am grateful when others step up to help me now. I had simply learned that if I did indeed want something a particular way, that it was up to me to do it myself, and I was okay with that. The problem here is that it can become toxic self-sufficiency because you have been let down by others so many times that you simply quit opening yourself up to be hurt again. I get it. You give up relying on others and you just learn to do everything yourself. I can arrange a mover, box all my shit, load the truck, drive the truck, unload the truck, all by myself in a day. Thank you very much. I call it Tomboy Deluxe. I am proud of that. However, I relish the thought of one day finding someone that I can feel vulnerable with, someone I feel comfortable leaning on for help, knowing that they will be there. It's a hard thing to do after suffering abuse at the hands of a narcissist or 3. In time, I know I will find that person, and until then, I am 100% good with that person being me. The need for control also showed up as a fear of flying. No matter how many times I fly, I like my feet on the ground. Thank you very much. Do not like. Talk about the ultimate loss of control. Your life is in the hands of the pilot, and you just hope that he's having a good day. Although recently I've learned to be okay with that loss of control, and it's way better to fly that way. Song Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. Empaths are known for being drawn to nature and water. I also have a theory about my desperate longing to return to Southern California. I think that being born here, so close to the ocean, that it will always just be in my DNA, even though I wasn't really a swim in the ocean kid, you know what I mean? I believe in crazy things like the arrangement of the planets at the time you were born and the pull of the tides on the human body, which is, after all, 60% water. I think I have subconsciously felt the pull of the ocean tides my whole life just because I was born so close to it. More woo-woo science, I know, but it all makes sense to me. Besides, I don't call it woo-woo, I call it magic. I mentioned earlier that I feel the world right now is at a precipice of narcissist empath split. Oh my, is it ever? I wrote this and published it, 3-4 years ago now? And look at us now. Am I a prophet? Perhaps. Say that one more time. I mentioned earlier that I feel the world right now is at a precipice of narcissist empath split. We tried running the world the narc way, greed and every man out for himself, and look at how fucking miserable everyone is. They're in charge right now, and this is what's happening. It's almost like our collective dark narcissist-leaning energy literally made the planet sick, and COVID happened. That's not scientific at all, but I am of the belief that we just don't know everything, and it might certainly play a part. Once we shift the other way towards more empathy, more compassion for each other, more helping each other, more helping society, this world will heal. I hope I live long enough to see that happen. This is the only way it can go. Otherwise, we are literally going to kill ourselves and each other. Luckily, this poor planet will be fine without us, but it would sure be nice to see us all at peace and find joy somehow. The potential is certainly there. I feel the explosion of true crime fans is tied to a bunch of empaths who can't wrap their brain around the idea that someone could be that terrible. I think that's why I got so heavy into it. It's like watching a movie. It can't be real, can it? We just can't fathom that that kind of evil exists. It's so foreign to us that it fascinates us. Our lack of ability to comprehend that way of thinking must be like a narc not being able to comprehend empathy. Oof, that's a sad realization, isn't it? Big sigh. So how do we all find joy and peace? Remember when I discussed playing pretend to figure out what it is you really want in life? Pretend like it can happen and just see what comes up for you. The saying is fake it till you make it, and I have never liked that. Faking it implies that you're being a fraud, that you're not really being you, which just makes you question yourself, and rather than finding yourself, you feel more inauthentic. I think instead of fake it till you make it, we should say pretend it till you mend it. Imagine the life that you really want. Pretend like it's yours, and eventually it will be. Your thoughts, even when only playing pretend, will manifest if you focus on what you want without wavering. It's magic. You should try it. What on earth do you have to lose? Play pretend. Song Better Boat by Kenny Chesney and Mindy Smith. I was watching the Harry Potter 20th anniversary documentary on HBO the other day. Sidebar, yes, I think that J.K. Rowling is a piece of shit human being. However, I'm of the opinion, this is woo-woo, but like ideas float in the ether, and it's up to individual humans and souls to grab them as they float by and make use of them. And I think that this Harry Potter story was one of those things, and it just happened to be grabbed by a shit human, unfortunately. And it happens sometimes. But the story itself created such love and movement, and the actors behind the movies also such love and connection that I disavow the author, but the story stands on its own. Okay, here we go. I was watching the Harry Potter 20th anniversary documentary on HBO the other day. I love me some Harry Potter. That special was so full of love for one another. They all just gushed about the entire experience and how they felt the entire crew was full of genuinely good people. They were crying when they said it, indicating that they have since seen the world for what it is, and looking back at that time in their life, they see just how special and rare that experience truly was. This just bolsters my belief that if everybody was allowed to do what they were passionate about and what they wanted to do, then everyone would be happier. Because you know damn well that everyone on that Harry Potter set that got the job came to the interview as an enthusiastic fan first. They were so passionate about that world that they wanted to be sure that it was done right for all the other fans who love it as much as they do. I'm sure that each film was inundated with applications, and they were able to choose the ones who had genuine passion and love for it, so that every day was a joy to them, and everyone there was happy to be a part of it, even on the tough days. I'm sure it was a magical experience, and I'm so glad that they have all those memories to look back on. If we could all just have a basic income and universal health care, to be free to choose what we want to do instead of what we must do for safety and security, just think of how happier this whole planet could be. It wouldn't be called work anymore. It'd be called fun. Being happier would surely mean we would end up kinder and more empathic people. Happy people don't cause trauma. Children experiencing neglect and trauma at a certain age will split themselves and will either become more empathic or more narcissistic. This is where both narcissists and empaths come from. I don't know what it is that makes us choose one over the other. I'm sure it's just how traumatic your experiences have been. But it's quite plain to those who get hurt it's quite plain that those who get hurt subconsciously decide on one of the following. Quote, I'm never going to subject anyone to that kind of pain ever, because I know what it's like and it's terrible. So I'd never want to hurt someone like that. Empaths. Unquote. Or, quote, this world is a cold, dark, hostile place, and it's every man for himself. No one cares, so you got to do what you got to do to take care of yourself, even at the expense of others, before they do it to you. Narcissists, unquote. Narcs realize that in their despair, people lie and can't be trusted or relied upon, so fuck everyone. In other words, if they're out to get their own, then I'm out to get my own too. I feel that the empaths lean into their emotions to save them, and the narcissists shut them off for the same reason. I don't know why I chose empath, but I'm so glad I did. Even with all the heartache and pain, I would much rather be a good-hearted person who feels everything too deeply than some empty black void who will never find peace and never really feel love. They will always be walled off. They will never feel the things that I feel. They are living a half life, and they won't ever wake up from that. They will remain unhappy and unsatisfied at their core forever. So even when I'm really fucking angry about the abuse these narcs put me through, I feel badly for them because I know it comes from a place of pain that wasn't even their fault. I can forgive them for that. It is, however, their choice to remain there and not try to better themselves. They never seem to choose that option. So maybe empaths are taken advantage of, and maybe that is seen as weak. To me, there is nothing more beautiful than an open, giving heart who just wants to spread joy, peace, love, and happiness to others. I have learned not everyone deserves that side of me, but I won't let them steal it or kill it. I will just protect it as the treasure that it truly is and be thankful every day for the capacity to experience this wonderful, abundant, awful, terrible, heart-wrenching, joyous life in all its glory. I'm just so, so grateful for everything. That's it. Chapter 17, self-esteem and self-care. Next week, I will try to be on time, but, you know, I moved. I moved to a whole new locale. I think I did pretty good because we're still within the week. So give me a break, right? But comment, like, share. Comments help, I think, and the likes, share, promote the videos and get the word out. And this one might be particularly helpful since it's about empaths and what's going on in the world right now. So share it if you like. And thanks for being here. Love you guys. Bye.